came across a good saying the other day, AI doesn't read your minds, it reads your prompts. And that's true. So get better at prompting if you want to get better results from AI. Today, I'm talking about AI, specifically prompting in AI. I know you guys have probably seen hundreds of prompts that people have shared across the internet, claiming to be that perfect all-in-one prompt that you can use for everything and it's going to solve all your problems. But unfortunately, that's not really true. Now, there's some good ones out there, don't get me wrong. Some people are sharing some amazing prompts. And especially for new business owners and solopreneurs that are doing a lot of content creation and things like that for themselves, these AI tools are an amazing time saver for that. So if you can get a couple of really good prompts that you can customize to do your captions and your scripts and things like that, it saves you so much time, believe me. But the thing about prompt engineering, it's not just getting one or two good prompts that you can use. It's learning how to talk to the AI properly to get the result that you want. And not just give it one prompt, but be able to have different types of prompts and then customize that conversation back and forth with the results that you're getting. Sometimes just one prompt will do it, but a lot of times I find that I'm going back in there and not tweaking what the AI gave to me and generated as a response, but tweaking what I'm asking, tweaking how I'm asking it, and adding and changing things depending on what the output was. There are different types of prompts and different uses for prompts, so I'm going to cover some of those. But first, let's talk about the AI tools themselves. When OpenAI released ChatGPT, that gave us, normal users, a forward-facing AI tool, a model that we could go in and chat with and customize and get data from, get generated responses from. And we didn't have to be a developer. We just have to know how to talk to these computers. And the better instructions you give them. There are different types of prompts and different uses for prompts. So I'm going to cover some of those. But first, let's talk about the AI tools themselves. When OpenAI released ChatGPT, that gave us normal and the better response you get. Now let's talk about the 5 LLMs. ChatGPT is probably what you're most familiar with. OpenAI released this one and it just blew up, like it changed everything. And people that jumped on that early have developed prompts that work for them. They've learned how to speak to this tool and talk to this computer in a way that gives them really good results. And so a lot of prompts that you see are from people who got on this platform early and have been practicing and building their prompt engineering skills to get those prompts to be useful, to be more specific and customized to get the results that they want. Now, there are several different models. If I go in here, you can see there are different models. Now, I have the paid version, but there is a free version as well. You would just go in here and type in an instruction to the computer, and you would get a generated response. This is absolutely the one I use the most. I use this every day. This is what I use for all my general AI searches and work. The free version will work just fine for you, especially if you're starting out. You can get a lot done on the free version. You don't need to have the paid version. Then you have Claude. Claude is Anthropic's LLM. Again, they have different versions here. I do not have the pro version, the paid version for Claude. Now, one of the drawbacks of being on the free version with Claude, it's very limited how much you can use it. You'll get timed out to where it'll tell you, oh, you've maxed out your questions, and usually it's like 4, sometimes 5, and then it's done. And then it'll say I have to wait 4 or 5 hours, and then I can come back into that same conversation. But I don't use Claude for very many things, so the free version works for me right now. But that could change very soon with this latest release that they have. And we'll talk about that in a little bit later. Gemini, that's Google's version. Now, I do have the paid version on this, so I have Gemini Advanced, and you'll see there's different models on this as well. And again, you just go in and type your question, give it some instructions, and get a response. Then we have Grok, which is from the X platform, and DeepSeek. All right, now that we've seen the different tools, let's talk about the different kinds of prompts and when you would use them. The first type is the instructional type. You're just going to go in and tell the model what you want it to do. This is for completing tasks and writing your articles, summarizing your documents, or editing things that you've written. The next one's what we call the few shot prompts, where you're going to provide a few examples of what you want or how you want it to give you the information. because you want it to give you a result that mimics a pattern or gives you back the data in a certain format. And you're going to tell it what that format is, how it's structured. Then there's the chain of thought prompts. This is when you want it to teach you something or explain a problem to you. Step-by-step instructions. You want it to break it down. I use this one a lot. Chain of thought prompts, you really do need to learn how to instruct it very well to get the results that you want. Now, the next type, the role-based prompts, this is where you're going to assign the model a persona. You're going to tell it who it is. And that's what a lot of the prompts I see on Instagram are, where they'll start out, you are the expert marketing coach, or you are the expert branding strategist. And so what they're doing is they're telling the AI, instead of me going hiring a branding coach, now I can go to AI, and if I instruct it properly and tell it who it is and define its role well enough, it will gather all the information from all of the top branding experts out there that it has data from, and it will generate responses back to you from that data. So you'll get a really good result. So that's something that we would use for customer service or coaching, or if we were going to hire an expert for something. That's the kind of prompt we would use to get that information back from the AI for those types of things. Then we get into the multi-turn prompts. Now that's what I use a lot because I build chatbots. So I want the AI to basically have a conversation. I want it to continue a back and forth, a multi-turn conversation where I keep putting different information in, the AI analyzes what I'm saying, understands the intent, and responds accordingly. And that can go back and forth. So again, this is used for chatbots, creating your own GPTs, assistants, agents, all of those things that you've probably heard as terms. So it's that back and forth conversation and generation of data. And then you have refinement prompts. This is one that I probably use the most because just about everything I get back, I always have another refinement prompt that I will send back to it and keep tweaking it until it gives me exactly what I want. Now, ChatGPT in particular has gotten really good at prompting you for these refinement prompts or these next steps. And so it's really helping people learn to be better prompt engineers. And so pay attention to those. When it gives you a suggestion, do you want to do this next thing? Engage back and ask questions about, well, why would I want to do that? Or how would I do that? Or what would I use that for? Don't just say yes and let it just keep going on. You need to practice actually inquiring why it's suggesting that. So you can learn in your mind to be a better prompt engineer and come up with asking those types of things on your own, because not all of the tools do a good job of prompting you for the next input. Now that we talked about the different types of prompts and what you would use them for, let's talk about a couple of things across all the prompts that you need to be paying attention to. First rule, be clear and specific. A bad prompt would be, write a blog about marketing. A good prompt would be, write a 3-paragraph blog about how to use AI tools in small business. That's clear, that's specific. The second rule, add context. My audience is 40 to 60-year-olds with limited digital experience and are not tech savvy. This helps the AI understand who I want it written for, so it has more context of how it needs to speak and what it needs to actually cover. If it's going to talk at this level of tech jargon, my audience isn't going to get anything out of that article, so the context matters. Number 3 is give examples. That few shot prompt, that's where you give it a couple of examples. If I want something that's like something else or a pattern of something else, giving examples is one of the best ways to train your AI to give you back what you expect. If I want some headlines written for me, I'm going to give it 2 that I like so that it knows the style that I want, and then I'll say, give me 5 more like this. If you have something you're trying to model, give it examples of that so it can come up with more for you. Number 4, ask for formatting or tell it the formatting. If I want it to be in paragraph form, if I want it to be conversational writing, if I want it to be bulleted or in a table, I need to ask for that. If you can provide an example of the formatting you want, that's even better. And rule number 5, use roles. Use those personas. Instead of just saying, give me a weekly fitness tracker, tell it it's a world-renowned fitness coach. create my personalized weekly fitness tracker. Learning how to instruct the AI properly is going to get you better results. Now, here's a list of common prompt strategies for business and content. If you're doing content creation, you want to use an instructional prompt that has your tone and your style, your brand voice in those instructions. If you're brainstorming ideas, use the open-ended prompts like list 10 ideas for making sourdough. When you're doing a summarization of your documents, make sure you're clear in how you want it summarized. Do you want it displayed back in bullet points or numbered? Do you want it in paragraphs? Do you want all of it summarized, or you just want the main points pulled out? Do you only want a section of it summarized? Now, if you're going to ask for code and help with code, definitely use the role and step-by-step strategy, and also instructional, so that you can tell it is the expert Python coder and break this down step by step. And for social media, you want the strategy of using examples for sure, because you need to have a couple of posts that you write and show the AI, this is how I want it done. Just do it better. And you can even take a couple of posts that you wrote, ask ChatGPT or whatever LLM you have, rewrite this to make it better, and see how it rewrites your voice. If it's totally wrong, tell it. That's how you use those revisional prompts. You say, no, that's way too stuffy. I'm much more laid back. Or no, that's way too informal. I want it to be much more professional. And so when you tell it that, you're giving it those revisional instructions so that it can go back and understand what your intent is from the examples you gave it and the revisional instruction prompts you added. And for a customer support bot, again, that's going to be the multi-turn strategy, where it's a back and forth conversation, and definitely assign it a role. Tell it is a customer service bot. Tell it that it's supposed to act in a certain way or treat your customers a certain way. And give it a personality. Start simple. Use plain, direct instructions. Go back and forth with your prompts. You're going to have several different versions. You're going to add some revisions. You're going to ask for improvements. Layer what you're doing with, the different types of prompts. Like I said, put in examples and give it a role and a personality. Always refine it at the end. When it's done, ask if there's anything else that it would add, or is there any other questions it has for you to make this better. It's interesting sometimes what it comes up with. And then start saving your prompts. You're going to find prompts that work really well for you. Build your own library and then reuse those prompts. And again, the more you do this, the better you're going to get at it. And you're going to know what works for you, because what works for you definitely isn't going to work for me probably. So you have to find your own voice when it comes to this. Doing it every day, you're horrible when you begin. And the more you talk about it, the easier it is for it to just roll off of your tongue. And you'll start to understand it's habitual. When you do things over and over again, keep doing it until it just becomes second nature, and it becomes very comfortable for you to go in there and instruct these LLMs in what you want to get out of them. What is your expectation? They're going to learn from you doing consistently the same thing over and over again. So build that library, because being consistent and training these LLMs is important too. So if you use the same prompts, you expect the same things, it's going to learn who you are, and it's going to start doing a better job of giving you the information that you want. My final thought. Prompting is like casting spells, and your words are the magic wand. The clearer your intent and direction, the better the magic. I hope this helped. If you want to learn more about this stuff and join a group of like-minded enthusiasts who are trying to manage their way through this AI minefield, get in the description below. There should be a link to join the membership, explore the possibilities of AI. As always, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.